This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
I was there. No, I'm not. Oh. Hi, everybody. It is the After Party Live. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for hanging for the Mark Thompson Show if you were there for that. Nikki Medora Show is great today as well. And I'm glad to have you here on the After Party Live. I had to reboot my computer, so sorry for the delay. I had a couple of instances, there were more than usual today, where I kind of zapped out for maybe 2 or 3 seconds and came right back on Mark's show. And so I tried to reboot in between and get everything reset. Hopefully it won't happen to me because now I don't have a co-show host to pick up the slack when my computer goes wonky. So that's what accounted for the delay there. I was not here yesterday and I have to apologize. And I saw some folks in the chat, we'll go to the chat and talk about it, ask what happened. They were confused as to what happened. The truth is, when you're trying to put together 2 shows and you're looking for all these stories and you're trying to come up with all of these pictures and all of these ideas and all these guests and then booking the guests and booking this, getting the segment organized, I just ran out of bandwidth trying to do 2 shows at once. And because I made a commitment to Mark to make sure that his show was on the air, something had to give somewhere. So that is why I didn't do an After Party Live yesterday, but I got myself together and I managed to put one together today. I don't expect that to happen very often, but it was one of those things where it was just more work than I could possibly have done. So huge apologies for people who expected the show and then didn't see it. I'm sorry if I let you down. I don't plan to do that again. But you know, sometimes life happens and Mark's dad's passed and we got all this, all this other stuff to handle with the Mark Thompson Show. And so that's what happened. But thank you for your patience with me. And thank you for coming back anyway, even though you might have been annoyed by it all. I appreciate that. I have some people to thank already. This show has been remonetized and you guys are really crowdfunding it, stepping up and taking care. The first one from SJ Lola, who comes in before I even come on the air. Thank you for all your incredibly hard work. Thank you for noticing and realizing and supporting SJ Lola. Really, really appreciate you very, very much. Wes, with a daily $5 super sticker, whether it's from his contributions to PayPal or here on the show, Wes always is taking care of it. So thank you to Wes. Cindy says, thank you for all your hard work. Drink lots of tea. Love your animal and science stories. Oh, well, then you're going to like this one, I'm sure. I really hope that you do. I have some really interesting science stories too. Thank you, Cindy, and thank you for supporting the show in this way. Aloha to Jim Liu. He says, I'm going to Hawaii next month, Big Island, thinking of you guys. My one tip for the Big Island is to go to this restaurant. I mean, you'll know other places to go that are more touristy. You know, going up to the volcano is always really fun, and spending a night at an Airbnb up there, checking out the Turtle Beach, the Black Sand Beach. But there's a restaurant which is, I forget the name of the town. I have to look up. I'll look it up for you right now while we're talking. The restaurant is called The Bamboo. And you would think that, well, it is incredibly like kitschy, 60s Hawaii kind of touristy, but it's also really special. It's in this old building, and it has the store attached to it where they have koa wood carved beds and gifts and furniture, and like it's just crazy. And then you go into the restaurant and there's like 60s Hawaiian entertainment and really good food, and it's just kind of one of these special places to go. It's called the Bamboo Restaurant. It's in Kohala, North Kohala. And it's somewhere I went on my honeymoon and then went back. Here's a picture of what it looks like. Here's their website. So if you're going to the Big Island like you are, Jim, check it out. Go to the Bamboo. Here, I have it. It is the Bamboo Restaurant and Gallery, and it's really worth checking out. Look at this place. Kind of old Hawaii. Really fun. They say it's a destination, and I would completely agree. So it's kind of a special place to go. So go check it out, The Bamboo, if you're up in North Kohala. Go see it. Thank you, Jim, for the contribution. Aloha. Have a great time in Hawaii. Wish I was going with you. All right, let us dig into some of these stories that I have been looking at because tell Mark I deserve a raise. I mean, he just lost his dad, and I'm not going to ask him for money because, friends don't do that. But I would agree. I deserve a raise. And you guys kind of just gave me one. So that's what I need right there, right? Okay, let's get into these stories because the first one I saw is about the Olympics in France and what they're trying to do with the River Seine. They set Sunday, this Sunday past, as the date where the mayor of Paris was supposed to swim the river to prove that it was clean enough for Olympic athletes. Do you think the mayor hopped into the river? Because I'm here to tell you, the mayor did not hop into the river. I sound worldly. It's like the only time I've ever been out of the country. I took a trip to France, Luxembourg, Germany, and Belgium. And one of the best things my sister and my best friend and I did was we went on a riverboat cruise on the River Seine. And we did it right at twilight. So they served you a meal on this boat. And then as you go up and down, you get to see all the cool things in the daylight, and then you go back down, and that is when the Eiffel Tower lights up and it twinkles every hour on the hour. Really beautiful. That was one of the best things I did. I loved it. But here's this dirty, kind of, it's sad, but it's a nasty river. And it was supposed to be cleaned up, and it really hasn't been cleaned up. And people are angry in France. They say that this whole river cleanup thing has cost way too much money. And they're mad at the expense of cleaning up this river. So there's a new move to poop in the Seine. It's hashtag Je suis dans la Seine le 23 June. It translates to I in the Seine on 23rd of June. So I guess on June 23rd, everyone was supposed to go and let one go in the river as a protest to the amount they've spent to try to clean it up. So the Paris mayor, Anne Hidalgo, was supposed to swim it to prove that it was clean enough for Olympic athletes. Now she's delaying her swim until after the French elections in July. President Emmanuel Macron has also promised to swim in the Seine before the games begin. He hasn't said exactly when. This website, though, has been set up with this slogan, "They have plunged us into S." It's their turn to plunge into our S. And so on the 23rd, they all allegedly went and pooped in the river. The reason why people are so angry is that all the resources have been invested and none of the social problems have been solved. So many homeless people in Paris. I have a friend who just returned from Paris and said there were no homeless people there. I have another friend who went 2 months ago and said there were so many homeless people. What did they do? They took them and moved them out of the Olympic zone. That didn't fix the problem. So I can see why people are frustrated. They say we have the feeling of being abandoned. We see where their priority is. It's not that on trying to make things better. More than 1.4 billion euro have been spent trying to make the water safe enough to swim in. You've got open water swimming events, a triathlon, all scheduled to take place in the Seine. And a report published last Friday, according to SF Gate, showed this water is still too dirty to swim in, 5 weeks away from the triathlon. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? You can't have water sickening athletes. The water samples showed high rates of 2 kinds of fecal bacteria, including E. coli. It does not meet the standards set for the Olympic Games. They have to do something. So they're going to have to spend even more money on this. So, because the games are coming to Paris, there's increased costs for the people that live there. Transportation costs are going to be more expensive. The homeless encampments have been cleared. This is having accusations now of France trying to hide poverty. Students have been moved to make way for Olympic workers. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody really let it go in the river there, but yeah, they're not happy in France, apparently. This is a really cool story. I am intrigued, you could say, by this story. They're talking about building outposts on the moon, right? And how that would be possible. So if you did it, you would have to, the original thought was, you would have to get the materials that you're going to use for building, and then you would have to somehow shuttle those up to the moon. That is going to be incredibly expensive, right? Maybe cost prohibitive. So what could we use instead? There's something on the moon. It's like moon dust and rocks, like this layer coating the surface of the moon. It's called regolith. Dust, rock, and fine particulates coating the moon's surface. And so, what if we took this regolith and we made it into building blocks? And that was the material used to build these outposts on the moon. And they thought, well, in what would the bricks look like? How could we make it the easiest to build on the moon? And so scientists are looking at Legos. And they thought, well, if we could press the regolith into giant Lego-shaped bricks, then building these outposts would be really easy. It'd be like putting together this giant Lego structure. I love it. So this is from the European Space Agency, and they look to Legos, and they say, we could snap it together just like the toys. It'd be so easy to build it. Here's what the team said. My team and I, according to the European Space Agency, my team and I love creative construction and had the idea to explore whether space dust could be formed into a brick similar to a Lego brick, so we could test different building techniques. This according to the European Space Agency science officer, Aidan Cowley. He said the result is amazing. That while bricks may look rougher than usual, importantly, the clutch power still works, enabling them to play and test their designs. There's a catch, though. The ones that they're looking at, the first generation moon bricks, aren't made from regolith, because while the lunar dust is abundant in the Earth's satellite, the only regolith we have here on Earth are samples collected from the Apollo missions, from Russia's lunar rovers and China's Chang'e 5 probe, at least until the Chang'e 6 returns. So that means that the regolith is scarce here on Earth. So we can't really test it out until we get more of this material to work with and see how it functions. This meteorite dust is being used as a stand-in. They're taking it from this chunk of 4.5 billion year old space rock that was found in Northwest Africa in 2000. So after combining the minuscule metal grains and chondrules, which is round molten meteor fragments, with a thermoplastic polymer called polylactide, the team threw their new material into a 3D printer and set the device to create these bricks featuring Lego's rectangular design and clickable studs. Whether or not they're going to actually use this on the moon, we don't know. But they're trying to come up with something that might look like this and testing it out. And I think that's awesome. Gotta love that. 2 animals now, and a video I have for you about this raccoon who was hanging out at this campfire, around the campfire where a bunch of people were drinking and having fun. And this raccoon started acting really, really weird. Not quite right. And so they decided, the people at the campfire, to check it out, and realized it was choking. Check out the story.
Cheese.
Yeah, Mara McDonald is live downtown tonight. And Mara, Rocket had a pretty close call here.
Rocket had an incredibly close call here, but you had 3 friends who saw the little guy in distress and performed what I guess we're going to call Raccoon Heimlich. And yes, there's video. Take a look.
Looked like he had a little piece of cheese with him, and he was eating it, started choking, and it did this weird little thing. It reared up on its hind legs and like was given seemingly, it looked like the universal sign for choking. It was kind of really strange.
Tyler and his buddies, Bill and John, knew the raccoon was in distress, but how do you deal with a wild animal that usually would take your eye out?
I'm like, man, it looks like it's choking. So I went back behind it, and I started, doing what I was taught to try to save someone from choking.
A little bit lower, Bill.
Rocket didn't attack. He welcomed the help to get the too large cheese out of his throat, and sure enough...
There it is! A little bit lower!
Let's save this one! Let's go! You're not going to down!
The cheese came out, and he sashayed off, content to dumpster dive another day.
I was in total disbelief. I couldn't stop laughing because I literally could not believe what was going on. Bill's literally smacking a wild raccoon, and it's letting him do it.
The raccoon rescue between friends has now become an online sensation.
It all worked out. I was pretty impressed. I did not expect any of this viralness to happen.
I just happened to pull the phone out and start recording. So, I mean, I'm just glad I did. So no one would have believed that,
Back here live. So exactly how many views have there been of Rocket the Raccoon's miraculous rescue in Genesee County? 17 million.
Wow.
I think that counts as viral.
Yeah.
We're live downtown tonight.
Yeah. So our thanks to the folks in Detroit for the broadcast. And that is a crazy story. I think it takes a lot of guts to smack a raccoon on the back. Thank goodness they did and saved this little creature. And thank goodness they filmed it for the rest of us as well. How about this story? The beavers are back. Nice to see people kind of embracing nature, right? There were beavers in this area at the Tule River in California. And then they were gone because they were hunted for their pelts, because they were considered to be pests, and the river suffered for it. So there's a Native American group who really lobbied to bring these animals back for the health of this river. And so they have. Yeah. They're $200 million in funding from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife Agency, includes this multi-year beaver reintroduction plan, and they say it's paving the way for the return of the beavers that some people think are pests in this area and other people think really are necessary for the health and the ecosystem in the Tule River. Oh, there you go. The beavers are back, and look at them all being released. This is recent, where the beavers were released back into the river. And the folks that are in support of this say, we're really hopeful that people will see the work they do and the benefits that they bring to the environment, and that the watershed is going to be a much healthier place, and people will stop fighting against this and really see that it's good to have them back in this area. I wanted to show you this picture. Maybe you'd think, this really isn't cute. This is not the sofa that I want in my house. There, though, is a new bioplastic house. It's a part of this event called 3 Days of Design. And this Danish company called Natural Materials Studio created this futuristic, fossil-free home interior where every single element, from the curtains to the sofa, are made from this bioplastic. It's made from Procell bioplastic. That's how they do it. And they have decorated the whole place. They have lamps, they have dining tables, they have everything. Even a walk-in closet. This exhibition is supposed to kind of let us envision this future where our homes can be made using entirely biomaterials like this, which can be endlessly remade into new products and then backyard composted at the end of their lives rather than ending up in the landfill. It's interesting. I mean, I like the idea. I don't know if I like the dining table. It kind of looks like you couldn't put a plate on that. They did say it kind of buckled in a little bit. But you've got, this is the dining room, that's the table, and then I guess you sit on those little cubes would be. Yeah. They have a bioplastic bed. So I guess when you lay on it, they say it feels kind of like foam, a foamy material. Here's the lamps, bioplastic lamp shades. And so at the end, if you don't want it anymore, you can either have them melt it down and make something else out of it, or you compost it in the backyard, and there goes your old sofa, right? It's not cute. If we're going to do something like this, and I say yes, if this is the way of the future, instead of throwing things out, reusing them, repurposing the material, or having them be compostable, I'm all for that. But you have to make them cuter than this. This is not good. Not good. But the designer said you can really start to see how we can live with these new materials. I don't know. This natural materials studio developed ProCell as a flexible biotextile. You can make everything from your couch to clothes to curtains, and they're starting to really experiment with load-bearing furniture pieces. It's a natural protein which can be derived from either plants or animals. They say this is very much used in the medical industry. They use it in bookbinding. And there's protein can be sourced from different suppliers across Europe, that it's used in many different places. And though it was a little hard for them to get a hold of, they say Natural Materials Studio was able to create more rigid pieces. I don't know. What do you think of it? They're saying it holds a lot of potential, creating materials that resemble polystyrene and vacuum-formed plastics. And they're still experimenting with making it. They're investigating fluidity, so everything is in motion and things can move on and have another life. And that, they say, is how they envision the future to be. What do you think? Is that the couch you want? I don't know. Looks like a prison couch. It kind of looks like a big piece of foam, right? Mars is getting Soylent Green vibes. I don't know. B.A. Ware says, I thought it was made of butter. Use it in place of cement for freeways. I think it's too soft for that. I think they'd have to come up with some type of way to harden it up, because this is kind of foam. The way they describe it is that when you sit on it, you sink in a little bit. It's a little foamy, like, feels like foam. I don't know. I just think it's not cute. Sandy says it looks like it's made out of plaster. Yeah. I think they're going to have to do better. Now, I like where they're going with this. I would prefer it not be made of animals, but hey, I get you're experimenting with different materials here. Let's stick to plants and let's make it cuter. And then maybe I'll get on board with a couch that I can compost in my backyard when I'm done. I don't know. I especially don't know about the dining room table. That is extra not cute. No. And that bio bed, if it's not comfortable, we're not buying it. You have to have a comfortable bed. And I don't know about that bed. And I don't like the look of it all. I mean, it's very white. It's very I don't know. It's not homey at all to me. I have questions. Did you ever wonder about the origin of this creature? This is the griffin. Yeah. And I saw this story on Popular Science magazine about the origins of the griffin. And I thought it was interesting. They say we're probably wrong about this. That they went back and looked at the actual fossil record to see if this was ever really a thing. with the majestic wings of a bird of prey, the fierce body of a lion. You see it a lot, the drawings of the griffins, in Middle Eastern and European cultures. And the thought was that the legend of this creature was associated with strength and protection, maybe came to fruition by looking at dinosaur fossils. Maybe that's where the whole griffin thing came from. There are other phenomena that fossils inspired. The geomyths, dragons, dinosaurs, may have come from people looking at fossils and saying, oh, look at this creature was, right? University of Portsmouth paleontologist Mark Whitten says, we promote these stories because they're exciting and they seem intuitively plausible, but doing so ignores our growing knowledge of fossil geomyths, grounded in fact and in evidence, which, by the way, he says, are just as interesting as all the conjecture and probably deserve more attention than the speculated geomythological scenarios. So they went back and they looked at history and all the times and places and drawings where griffins popped up and why that may have been related, how they were all related and where the origin of the griffin came from. The new study from the University of Portsmouth reevaluated the historical fossil record as well. They looked at Protoceratops fossils and classical texts linking this creature with a real-life dinosaur. They talked to historians and archaeologists. And ultimately, they said none of the arguments withstood scientific scrutiny. They said there's an assumption that dinosaur skeletons are discovered half exposed, lying around almost like the remains of recently deceased animals. But generally speaking, just a fraction of an eroding dinosaur skeleton would be visible to the naked eye. And usually it would probably go unnoticed, except for if you're a very sharp-eyed fossil hunter. And that is probably how ancient peoples wandering around Mongolia encountered Protoceratops. If they had wanted to see more of the skeleton to form myths around it, then they would have had to extract it from surrounding rock. And that is not easy to do. Even with more modern tools, protective wrapping, modern techniques, it's not easy to do it. So they said if gold prospectors were to have seen them, maybe. They said historical geographic spread of griffin art does not align with the scenario of griffin lore starting with fossils in Central Asia and spreading west. So they go back and they look at all of these things, and the team believes there's strong evidence of fossils being culturally important throughout human history, but they say it's really important to distinguish between folklore and fact. That invoking a role for dinosaurs in griffin lore introduces unnecessary complexity and inconsistencies to their origin and relies on interpretations and proposals that just don't withstand scrutiny. So, what are the origins of griffins? We don't know, except to say that we're probably wrong about what we know, what we think we know. This shoe is not cute. However, I might actually go for it. What would you say? What if I told you that if you put this shoe on your foot, you would have a foot massage while you were walking around? Feels pretty nice. You might have me at this one. Nike and health tech company HyperIce have developed or unveiled a series of wearables that can heat, cool, and massage to help athletes recover. It's the Nike HyperIce collaboration. It includes this pair of high-top shoes that use air compression to massage the feet, and then a vest that allows the wearer to adjust their body temperature as well. So again, Nike and HyperIce designed this for athletes to help prepare their bodies for strenuous exercise and then to help them decompress after that exercise. It also, they say, would be very suited for people who work in manual labor. Put this shoe on, you get the heat, you get the massage, you feel better. Most often, this type of compression system involves blow-up sleeves that they pull over the legs, and you wear it while you're kind of leaning back, right? Nike, though, has integrated this technology into this functioning shoe, complete with warming elements, warming elements, there's no elephants in your shoe, that help drive heat deeper into the muscle and the tissue. So it's got a battery pack in each insole, and it offers you 3 levels of compression and heat individually adjusted via a button integrated into the heel. And they tested it out on athletes, and they said the athletes report their feet and ankles feel freer and lighter, as if they've already completed their warm-up before they actually started their routine. Then they've got this vest that monitors your body temperature. And they say that thanks to the integrated thermoelectric coolers, which use electricity to deliver heat and cold with no need for ice or liquid refrigerants, that this is possible. So you get the massage, you get the body temperature cooling, and they're testing it out, and athletes are really, really liking it. Now, they haven't put a price tag on this, but they say that ahead of the Paris Olympics next month, Nike keeps unveiling these technological advances. They've already unveiled this collection of AI-enhanced footwear for their athletes, which is supposed to give you better energy return, better bounce. And they say they are betting on artificial intelligence to get a leg up in the race to create more high-performance footwear. And there you go. The massage shoe. Are you wearing it? Again, I'll say, not cute, but if it makes you feel good, I don't know. You could say, they kind of look like elephant feet. Easy mistake. It's the truth, right? Knit One Pearl One says, I can only imagine the cost. Regular good walking shoes cost a small fortune. Well, these are high-tech ones. I'm sure if you're an elite athlete, you know, this is meant for you. If you're the manual laborer they're talking about, you probably can't afford it. So, I don't know. Cameo says, one could make bricks on the moon with those boots. I like what you did there. I like what you did there. I don't know. Josh thinks that toe shoes are freaky. Oh, you're talking about ballet toe shoes? Probably. Well, they're athlete shoes, so I guess if you were a basketball player, they would need to be big. Mama says, I don't care for the shoes, but a vest that cools you down sounds interesting. I hate being hot. I don't know. Heather says, it just sounds like a grown-up version of a 5-year-old telling you his new Velcro sneakers make him run faster. I'm all for a good foot massage, though, Heather. You know? I can kind of get behind the foot massage. All right. Let us move on to space junk. Remember that story where the batteries, the slew of batteries, came down and one of them went through this man's roof in Florida? Yeah. They got hit by space junk, went right through the roof, didn't hurt anyone. They're suing NASA for damages. The object was taken to the Kennedy Space Center for analysis, and they say it was a metal support used to mount old batteries on a cargo pallet for disposal. That pallet was jettisoned from the space station in 2021. It was expected to burn up on entry into the Earth's atmosphere, but this piece survived, didn't burn up, and went through this guy's roof. So now they're pursuing NASA for compensation, damages, etc. The question is, what is the precedent for space debris? And do we need one now? With more satellites being sent up, more space junk up there, should we have some type of liability for the people that send it up? What happens when it comes down? What are the rules regarding this? And so that's really what this story is about, figuring out what to do when space junk comes down, because we might think, oh, it's a 1 in a million problem right now, but it might not be in the future. So, what are we going to do about this type of thing? I have a really cool video to show you. This is a rocket. People saw this, though, and thought, what the hell is that? Here, I have this picture. Oh, why is it not coming up? My bad. This is a rocket that was considered to be mysterious because it had this smoke-shaped tadpole-looking tail kind of situation. I'm going to show this to you. Hold on. I'm going to get this so you guys can see what I'm even talking about. They thought it was a mysterious object when it showed up in the sky. Here you go. All right, I can do this. I can do these things. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And check it out. Check out what it looked like. Here, I'm gonna make it big, and there you go. So there it is. So it gets bigger, and then it looks like a giant tadpole streaking through the sky. And people were like, "What in the world is that? What just happened? How can this be?" Let's look at that again. I mean, at first, let's see if I can replay it. At first, it looks just like, I don't know, a rocket being sent up, and then you have that looking thing, right? And so there are a lot of people kind of concerned about this mysterious object in the sky across the Las Vegas area is where they saw it. It has been identified as a SpaceX rocket, but they got a lot of phone calls from residents in southern Nevada who reported this UFO, this object streaking through the sky, and questioned what it could be. People were posting videos of this with the trail behind it. It was launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base here in California, and some people said there was a second object seen in a video shared by the National Weather Service, which appeared to be interacting with a rocket. They said the second light was an aircraft that took off from Harry Reid International Airport and turned north. The two things had nothing to do with each other. This rocket you see here launched 20 Starlink satellites into orbit. People saw it not only in Nevada, but in Malta. And residents there could see lights in the sky from the satellites heading into orbit. This launch becomes a big thing. It is kind of interesting. I will say that. Let's watch it again. There it goes. Yep. It's just Starlink sending more space junk up there. Don't worry about it. We got it. Nothing to see here. Move along. It's all right. Can we talk about whether you're resilient? And if you are resilient, you might be healthier, is what we know. This is a story about health and brain and gut health. And they say that holds the clue to resilient people. I have to show you the little puzzle that they have. Little puzzle picture that they have about being resilient. I'm doing too many stories and I'm not going to have time for Travel Tuesday. You guys, I'm failing all over the place. This is what's happening. So if your body is kind of more hardy, right? That you rank high in resilience. So you accept change positively. You follow your instincts. Often you have the bacteria living in your belly to thank for that. This new study was done at UCLA at the Microbiome Center, and they looked at brains and gut microbiomes of people who cope really effectively with different kinds of stress, like social isolation and discrimination. They say finding ways to prevent stress can help things like heart disease, stroke, obesity, diabetes. So if you're resilient, you're less likely to suffer from these type of things. And they said if we can identify what a healthy, resilient brain and microbiome look like, then we can develop targeted interventions to those areas to reduce stress. So they looked at 116 people and they interviewed them about their resiliency, and they divided people into two groups. One ranked high in resilience, the other ranked low. And then they tested their poop, and they did the MRI brain scans, and they found that the people who were highly resilient had brain activity in regions associated with emotional regulation and better thinking skills than the group with low resilience. That when a stressor happens, they say often we go to this aroused fight or flight response, and this impairs the brakes in your brain. The highly resilient people in the study were found to be better at regulating their emotions, less likely to catastrophize, and to keep a level head about things. In addition to brain differences, they said something was also going on in their guts. Their gut microbes excreted chemicals and exhibited gene activity tied to low levels of inflammation and a strong gut barrier. And the inflammation is what's known as a leaky gut, which impairs your body's ability to absorb needed nutrients and to also block toxins as well. They call resilience a whole body phenomenon that not only affects your brain, but also your microbiome. And that is so interesting because I would think, I don't know if you would think, but I would think that it would seem like that the things are not so connected and intertwined, right? Sometimes if I get stress, and different people exhibit stress in different ways. Like you're late, you're running late, you're worried that you failed people. You feel it in your gut, right? Your guts start churning. And so you know then that the stress you feel emotionally can show itself in physical ways. So I guess that is the way you could see the connection. But you would think that people that are able to cope well, with stress, okay, this happens, so here's how we react to it. That there wouldn't necessarily be such a close tie to what's going on in your brain and what's going on in your guts. And researchers say they were really surprised that these microbiome traits were higher in these resilient participants. It's so interesting. By the way, this whole study was published Friday in the journal Nature Mental Health. Next up, what they want to do is investigate whether an intervention to boost resilience will change the activity in the brain and in the gut. They said we could have treatments that target both the brain and the gut that can maybe one day prevent disease. So, keep your anxiety levels low, keep your body at it kind of operating at this normal level instead of emotionally all over the map, which then can manifest itself in these different physical ways. I just thought that was a really interesting story. Speaking of interesting, I had not known that this haircut had a name before. It's called the Edgar. Okay. It's very controversial, and I had not realized this before I saw this story, which I found on KTLA. They call it a bowl cut meets a Caesar cut, and it's very popular among young Latinos here in California, Texas, and Florida. It is called the Edgar cut. But there's a business owner in Texas who put up this anti-Edgar meme on the official Instagram and Facebook pages for his restaurant. The photo featured a big X drawn over a boy with this hairstyle, and it said, "No Edgars." The restaurant in San Antonio captioned the photo, "Should we ban Chili Bowl / Edgars?" So the guy that posts it, who owns the restaurant, is a Mexican American. And he didn't have a problem with it. But a lot of other people did. They say it's culturally linked with Latinos. Imagine, they said, discriminating against your own customers. You live in an Edgar City. It's the new form of racism, they said. Some people are calling it racist, like saying no dreads or no cornrows. You can't say no Edgars because it's a cultural thing with a certain group of people. Interesting. Now, the man who put up the meme said it was a joke, but also a half joke. Because he said, when you look at what's shown on the news daily, car theft, violent crime, it's a bunch of kids with the Edgar haircut. I don't know if that's true, That's what the guy who posted the meme had to say. And that got even more criticism. So I don't know. What they say at the barbershop in Texas is that they do about 75% of their business is doing these haircuts. That kids from 8 to 17 are wearing this hairstyle, and it is really, really popular. So I don't know. I bring it up because of the controversy, but also because I didn't know the Edgar was a thing. So now when you see somebody with this haircut, I'm not saying discriminate. I'm just saying now you know it's called the Edgar. And there you go. All right. You guys ready for it? I know it's after 2, but we'll make it a quick trip this week. We are going to Morocco for Travel Tuesday. Some of you know I have 2 nieces that both graduated from high school this year. And one family, one of the families in my family, on my husband's side of the family, they have 4 kids. And when one of their kids graduates from high school, they take a senior trip. And that's what they did this year. And they went to Morocco. And the pictures are amazing. So, knowing that I might not get to Morocco, I thought maybe we should take this trip to Morocco together. And so I found this, oops, what happened? I found this article, that's not the right one, from Condé Nast Traveler. And they have posted here 18 photos that will want to make you visit Morocco. And I can tell you this, all I needed to see was the very first picture and I was totally in. Would you look at that? How beautiful is that? Pretty amazing. This is in Morocco. It's the city of Chefchaouen, and I know I'm saying it wrong. And if you're of Moroccan descent or you know how to say it properly, my bad. I'm so sorry. Chefchaouen, it looks incredible. It's the blue city of Chefchaouen. I'm telling you guys, it looks completely amazing. So, look at those steps and look at those doors. It just looks incredible. The next picture, these are the terraces in the Imlil Valley in the high Atlas Mountains. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Look at that. Next picture, mounds of colorful spices in the Marrakech souk. Look at that. I mean, how beautiful to go in those markets and see that. The magic of the Sahara Desert. Check that out. Wow. My niece and sister-in-law, they went riding on camels, and the pictures are really, really cool. Next picture, Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca. That is beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I would love to see that. Argan trees of the Souss Valley of southwestern Morocco, and the goats that famously climb the branches to eat the fruit. How cute are those goats? Look at that. This is one of those things. You look at it and go, who even made that? The walls of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, Ait Ben Haddou, in the Ouarzazate province. I don't know if I said it right. How beautiful is that? Look at the carvings on those buildings. Beautiful. The next one is a selection of Moroccan slippers in the Marrakech Medina. Wow. They're beautiful. Next one is the Golden Gates of Fez Royal Palace. How pretty is that? Yeah. I would love to see these things. I don't know about you guys. Jardin Majorelle. It's a 12-acre cactus-filled garden once owned by fashion designer Yves Saint Laurent. Look at that. Jardin Majorelle. It's beautiful. Next picture, the hairpin roads of the Daddy's Gorges in the high Atlas Mountains. Okay, cool picture. I don't know if I want to be traveling on those roads, to be honest. That kind of freaks me out. I'm seeing that there's a little stone guardrail. Maybe not enough of a guardrail for me. It looks like a James Bond movie, doesn't it? Like, can you see the red Ferrari roaring along these roadways? Tangier's Cap Spartel Lighthouse and a view of the Mediterranean Sea. That's so beautiful. So different in style than the lighthouses in California. The Bahia Palace. That's really pretty. Look at that. And you compare that to, you know, the paintings on a Catholic church. What people have done, incredible. Look at that. Wow. These are ceramics from the maze-like Medina of Fez. Gorgeous patterns and swirls and prints. This is the arched sandstone and wild Atlantic coastline of Legzira Beach. That is amazing. Amazing. I would love to go there. Well, we are kind of there together. Ancient Roman ruins of the Volubilis, situated near Meknes. So cool. When you think about how old these things are, incredible. Moroccan coffee, a common sight at outdoor cafes around the country. I'll take it. El Jadida, which is a 16th century warehouse converted into a water reservoir. Look at those old arched ceilings. So pretty. And it's now a water reservoir. Look at that. Incredible. I don't know if you can take a tour there or what. So those are the 18 pictures. If we don't want to visit Morocco after that, nothing's going to help us. I'm convinced that it's a wonderful place to go explore. So that was Morocco, and that, my friends, is Travel Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry that I got to it a little bit late. Thank you for the contributions to the show. Be aware, throwing down $10. And thank you for the nice compliment, saying you've been doing an outstanding job on all the shows. Yeah, except the show that I didn't do yesterday. The Mark Thompson show was outstanding today. You were loved and appreciated. That really means a lot to me. And I'm glad you liked the Mark Thompson show today. Gil Gross is always amazing. And Guyo Beelam is always amazing. And I really love Hal. He's a lot of fun. So I'm glad you liked the show. Thank you for the compliment and the nice words. Jim, aloha. Have a great time in Hawaii. Thank you for the $5 contribution. Cindy with 10. Drink lots of tea. I need to go make some. I'm out of vanilla tea, so I have to come up with something else. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the animal and the science stories today as well. Wes, huge love to you. Thank you for supporting the show as always. SJ Lola for the 20. Thank you for the kind words and for being so nice. And thank you guys for being so understanding. Really, really. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve you. I'm not going to cry. All right, that's the show for today. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We've got a great Nikki Medoro show on tap. Mark Thompson returns. John Rothman will be on the show. And then we'll have another after party live. Things will kind of get back to normal a little bit. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you so much for all the nice words and for supporting me in all the ways that you do. And I will see you tomorrow on the Nikki Medoro show and the Mark Thompson show, and then right back here. Until then, I hope you have a really, really great day and make it a good one. All right. Bye, everyone.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
You're not lying, Luis.